Hey, folks, what is up? It is time for the Pegasus Actual Podcast, and you have myself, and you have the great, brightest day, our esteemed co-host, and one of the awesome people, of course, that you know and love in this fellowship. And it's great to actually be back because you know we haven't had Pegasus Actual, I want to say since about around the 20th or something, was about the last one around March 20th, actually. And, then obviously, unfortunate circumstances dictated that it just went on an involuntary hiatus. And, I've been working my way back since mom's death. So I know in some capacity, mom is up there right now, very happy that Pegasus Actual has made a return. And I'm glad to be here. And I'm just glad to be around Zach again. And fortunately, I don't think Arwen could make it this evening. And we got an invite out to Mr. Brahmabul, but I'm not sure if he's going to make it, but that's okay, because Zach and I got this on lockdown. This is, of course, the episode we're discussing tonight is Someone to Watch Over Me. It was the 17th episode of season 4 of BSG. And there's a lot of Cylon-y stuff in this one for sure. We get kind of a callback and a sort of like brief I guess reliving of Boomer and Tyrell's relationship together. So this episode's all kind of all over the place, but this starts to really put in play the urgency and everything else needed because we are coming up. And Zach and I were talking about this beforehand. We were coming up on 2 episodes now before the finale. This one, I think there's one more, and then we're into the finale, which we're still going to reach out and try to get Gary for the finale to break that down with us because he was a BSG fan and he knows the finale well. So, Nelson, it's great to see you, buddy. I know also a big shout out to Sir Talks a Lot because he is listening. I believe he said he was on his way to the gym or something, but Sir Talks a Lot is listening, and also Wes Moody of the Wes Moody Webcast. If you're out there listening, I should say Wes of Whatever Cast now, since Wes has a new channel, and we should support that because he's starting over. So after YouTube unceremoniously nuked him, which was just they have no mercy. They are assholes and they dislike free speech. So that is what it is. But we don't give up. We persevere here. We try our best, and that's what Wes is doing. So if you haven't subscribed to his Whatever Cast channel yet, please check that out. Please do. Oh man, it's great. Nelson says once you've had a Cylon, you come running back. Nice. Also, we put out the link for my mom's Give, Send, Go. If you would like to support the channel or just share this link out, it would be very helpful. To date, we have raised a little over $5,400. And, this money is going to her memorial fund, which in turn is going to be used to not only pay for her burial, but also to catch up the unfortunate shortfalls that she had on the utilities, things of that nature, bring everything current, and then hopefully be able to breathe somewhat of a sigh of relief And of course, the rest of the money will go to legal fees and handling the upcoming probate that is going to undoubtedly be a gnashing of teeth. I'm going to hate that, but it is what it is. And also to keep the monthly expenses in check enough to eke out an existence here. So that's what we're that's what we're doing. So, anyways, as I said, it's great to see you all, and for more on tonight's episode and getting into our review, let's hand it on over to Brightest Day.
Thank you, Drew. Welcome everybody in the chat. Welcome back. This is season 4, episode 17. I believe Drew stated correctly, someone to watch over me. The episode opens and we are played in with a somber tune from the pianist in Joe's bar. Kara wakes for reveille, haunted as she goes through her daily routine with thoughts of her charred body found on old Earth. In an animatronic way, she goes through what seems like a purgatory of briefing her pilots, flying cap, drinking, sleeping, on and on and on. Their mission, as it has been for some time, is to find a habitable world. We see that the ongoing repairs are causing electrical and plumbing problems sporadically throughout the ship. Chief Tyrrell briefs Fleet Command on the results of the risky experiment with the Cylon resin. Galactica has a few more jumps left in her, but it's not a permanent fix. And Adama isn't ready to give up on the old girl just yet. Lee congratulates a 6, named Sonia, on her appointment to the Quorum of Captains, and her first formal request is to have Boomer relinquished to her, not to set her free, as Adama starts to protest, but to put her to trial for her siding with Cavil in the Cylon Civil War. Tyrrell realizes as Sonia explains the now poignant relevance of capital punishment that they intend to kill Boomer. After the opening credits, we see the ship experience tremors and power fluctuations, and the worried faces of the various crew. In sickbay, Doc Cottle, Kara, and some gathered Cylons examine the seemingly miraculous restart of Anders' brain activity. The Cylons float the idea that his brain is possibly rebooting, which Cottle seems to dismiss as quackery. As they leave, they discuss linking him to the Cylon data stream on the base star, as Cottle tries to convince Kara to let go of Anders for the time being and move on with her life. In Joe's bar, Kara complains to the piano player about performing the same lame-ass song over and over. He counters, saying that he's been in the process of composing for 4 days, and that his music is meant to bring beauty to a terrible existence. He calls her cynical after she snaps at him, asking what his music did to stop anything that happened to the 12 colonies. After she makes a snide comment about him needing to learn to play, he finally concedes, switching tunes to play us into the next scene with a variation of the original series' exploration theme, as Tyrrell reminisces about the good and bad times he had with Boomer as he observes one of the Eights working repairs. Notably, he recalls his rageful rant, shortly before his demotion, about being with those they truly wanted to be with. Simultaneously, we revisit the memory of Callie shooting Boomer. And I think it's a great place to stop because that particular segment of footage is very telling, especially given the fact that they choose to show not only his love for Boomer, but then how Callie ended that relationship at the same time he's complaining about how he wound up with Callie. Like it's such a weird mix.
It is, dude. And there's a lot to unpack in just what we covered there because, if you go back to, a few steps to where, I mean, it's just fascinating that, we actually have the first Cylon captain among the quorum of captains, which is like interesting. But then, the fact that it's a fascinating evolution where the Cylons are actually beginning to structure into a different sort of society, or at least these Cylons, where they're like, we need to have base rules and things like that and consequences. And so, we want to put Boomer on trial and actually, have her extradited to us so that, judgment can be passed. And then, of course, he wigs out, like you said, he wigs out then about her being killed and kind of throws a tantrum about that. And then, going back to what you were talking about, then he's having these visions later about, the reminiscing about their relationship. And, you see all of that. It was really weird the way that they sort of presented that. I agree with you.
I wouldn't say so much that he was wigging out as he's just coming to this realization very quickly, because at this point the line between human and Cylon culture is as gray and blurred as it's ever going to be. Right? You've got the ship being mixed with the Cylon resin, you've got the half-breed child, and you've got these now mortal Cylons trying to form what is essentially a human-like society in the death throes of civilization.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot there. It's pretty fascinating from that standpoint, just to see, as I said before, just the steps that the fleet Cylons have made. So, and hail to Sci-Fi Nation. Great to see you, buddy. Well, there's been a lot up. You're asking what's up. I'm just kind of trying to work through my mom's passing and get back to some shred of normalcy and keep my head above water. So that's where things are at. And hail to Pope Metallicus. Great to see you, as well as Brandon Looney Tunes Fan 2000 that just popped in. Hail, Brandon. Great to see you. So, all right. If you don't have anything else to add, Zach, please continue with the next portion.
Right? Kara visits Hilo's quarters, as young Hera creates little crayon drawings of the stars. Hilo, it turns out, has spent the months since Kara's return hunting down her old belongings. Only one item grabs her attention: an old tape recording of Drylity Thrace, live at the Helix Opera House. Before she leaves with the tape, young Hera hands her one of the drawings. In the brig, Boomer is visited by Chief Tyrrell, and a tense conversation starts. Boomer recalls how Galen treated her after she shot Adama, confessing that she thought New Caprica was a way to set things right, then admitting, after Tyrrell mentions, to now knowing that you can't force someone to love you at the point of a gun. They both admit to thinking of each other constantly over the years, and as the two reach out to touch through the mesh, Tyrrell is instantly transported to the house they had planned to build on Pycon after mustering out of Colonial Fleet. The Cylon projection angers him and causes him to recoil and run away. In the next act, another night in Joe's bar, Kara again begins listening to Slick, the pianist. Instead of cynically chiding him, she offers a mix of praise and criticism. They discuss the music as conveying a sense of loss, of trying to catch someone who is moving away too fast. Meanwhile, Tyrrell tries to convince the Five to intervene on Boomer's behalf, but they steadfastly refuse, not wanting to set themselves up as gods to the Cylons. Ellen admonishes Galen after he snaps at Ty's short reply, reminding the chief that the colonel has just lost his only son. Tyrrell again visits Boomer, and she tells him that the house in her projection was a secret retreat, that she built in her mind and visited on a daily basis after being shot by Callie. The two joke about the obsessive and thorough planning behind the dream house. Tyrrell reaches out through the mesh, and Boomer takes them back, the two choosing to share a happy moment with each other. Included in this dream world is a child, a young daughter, with whom Galen sits as he starts to laugh and cry happily. So this is kind of where we had touched before, where these two rebond over this dream that they had prior to the events of the series.
Right, because you could see everything like super clearly, and then they're both using their Cylon projection to bring it more keenly into focus, if you will. And yeah, you see the child and everything else. It's pretty crazy, and yeah, this is where it got to for me. I was like, oh wow, because I thought, like, at first, well, these crazy kids just remembering the love of the past, and then I was like, wait, is she manipulating him? And you have to wonder if it wasn't a little bit of both. um Nelson, gentlemen, thank you so much for that. You didn't have to do that, but thank you so much. Much appreciated.
I think, given the course that this episode takes, that it is plainly obvious that she's just been playing Galen the entire time. Like there might be a shred of true emotion in there, but it's entirely a means to an end. And I think she's using that just to bolster her own performance, if you will.
Yeah, so you think from the whole time on, from Jump Street, she was like kind of fake.
Yes and no. I think this scene is real, but I think
Mhm.
it's a means to an end. I think she has this mission the whole time, but she's just like, I need Galen's help, and I can use this to get him, even if I'm enjoying it a little bit myself. It's not like it's not
Right,
a spontaneous thing.
right. Yeah, I can see that. Because there's it's really it's really hard to tell, because she's hiding it well. So you don't know, and Grace Park just acts so well, to where you don't know what percentage of the two there is there. If she's equally as invested in him as, oh, I still love my ex, to you know I'm gonna get this kid back no matter what, and take him back to Cylon HQ, essentially.
Yeah, credit to Grace for this episode. I think she really stepped up her performance. This is one of those times where, I mean, I've given Trisha Helfer a lot of credit for the multiple versions of Six and how she's played each one differently over the course of the series, but this is Grace Park stepping up to that plate and knocking it out of the park. Because as we'll see in the coming scenes, she plays both, multiple existing versions of herself. One already in the sick bay, and now Boomer, and then you have Athena all in the same episode. So she's kind of, along with some nameless eight that will
Mm-hmm.
get mentioned here in a bit. But
Oh, you mean the one doing the construction, or?
yeah, she doesn't have
Yeah.
any lines, and she doesn't actually, like, she has a couple of small facial expressions, but it's basically a throwaway version. But
Yeah, it's just a background eight.
yeah, basically,
Yeah, I mean,
which is kind of weird, right? And this might be when Adama ordered the repair work, right? He said, the whole crew has to be human, right? It has to all be human. That changed when they went to go with the Cylon resin, right? And that's why you have all these Cylons working on the ship now, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
All right, that makes more sense.
Yeah, he seemed to relent on that when they started putting in the Cylon resin, because Tiro made the point, like, nobody really knows this stuff better than the Cylons, and if you want to get it done efficiently, you're going to have to use Cylons no matter what.
And it could have also been that you probably wouldn't have found a lot of humans willing to do that,
Yeah,
especially post the mutiny.
right, exactly. So,
All right, so picking up where we left off. Back in the bar, Slick announces that the first movement of his sonata is finished. He starts with the second, with Kara accusing him of stealing material from Namayan's third sonata. She sits with him, talking about her father teaching her to play the piano and her pleasant memories of the experience, particularly a song that made her happy and sad at the same time. We fade to Kara walking inside of an empty flight deck, as a vision of her as a young girl playing a piano sits. As Kara touches the projection, her burned remains turn around in its stead, jarring Kara out of sleep. Holding her recovered dog tags, Starbuck tells Slick about the experience of finding her body on Earth. Slick claims to be unable to answer her questions, and she goes on to say that the search for Earth gave her clarity and focus, but since discovering the planet and abandoning it, she feels lost yet again.
mm-hmm.
Slick tells her that sometimes lost is where you need to be. And that's a weird creative direction to concentrate so much on her charred remains. We see that probably 2 or 3 times this episode, and it's pretty jarring every time. That's on purpose, but
Yeah, I wondered why they did like so much of that back cut to the charred remains. It's like, I mean, I get it. Like, she found her own body, okay. Because once or twice is one thing for context, but man, they really went to the well.
could have
But
been that they were out of ideas. But I think that the point was just to emphasize her trying to come to terms with it and reconcile that whole unfinished business in her brain in order for her to move on. And it plays with this weird tie-in with the mysterious song that's the crux of the end of the season in the series.
right. Yeah, and of course this is going to be a thing where you know the there's some there's going to be like the sort of some things that come from this episode, like with her sitting at the piano with him, where yeah. So, hey, look who's in our chat. Nerd Cookies
Hey,
is
Elaine.
here. Hey, Elaine. Great to see you.
Congratulations on her success. I think she just made a giant leap.
Yes, she
had a good run.
did. Big time congratulations to Nerd Cookies for clearing some milestones on that channel. Elaine, you are doing outstanding, and it's great, just absolutely great to see, the success that you're having with it. I'm so, so, so proud of you. Everyone in the fellowship's proud of you. You've done such a great job. So that's awesome. And Dwayne Erickson, great to see you, Dwayne. Say hello to Rita. I hope she's doing well as well. And, you came in a little late. We are discussing season 4, episode 17. This is Someone to Watch Over Me. In case you didn't know, if you want to go back and watch, that's where we're at. So, all right. Well, I don't know. Did you have anything else to add, Zach?
I think we can move on.
Okay, go ahead and move on. And I just need to step away for a quick second. So go ahead. You got this.
Elsewhere, Tyrell pleads with Rosalind for Boomer's life, which she refuses, reminding him that Boomer preys on personal feelings, and that by asking for a personal favor from her, Tyrell is doing the same thing. She signs the order, turning Boomer over to the rebel Cylons, and curtly dismisses him. At one of the repair sites inside Galactica, Tyrell stares at an 8, who's busy applying the Cylon resin. As the lights go out, he grabs a wrench, and mixed in with the sounds of people yelling is a heavy, sick thump. Back in Joe's bar, Slick hits a wall in his composing, and the two discuss him leaving his family because his wife wanted him to quit music, which he likens to ripping out his own heart. Starbuck disgustedly scolds him for ditching his family just like her own father did. Slick assures Starbuck that her father left her something valuable, the ability to play the piano, though she admits to not having touched it since he left. At first, Starbuck refuses to play, but eventually she is coaxed by Slick to play a few hesitant notes. She tears up, stops playing, and asks him to play in her stead. He agrees to play if they do it together, as the memory of her father's teachings come creeping back. Meanwhile, Tyrell helps the guards in the brig to reactivate the security cameras following the recent blackout. We see that the likely dead 8 has taken Boomer's place in her cot as she walks free. She enters one of the washrooms, where Athena assumes she's there for repair work. Instead, Boomer assaults her viciously. Boomer, having switched outfits with Athena, quickly washes blood off of her hands as Hilo walks in. She tries to pull away when Hilo suggests an intimate encounter before she leaves on her recon mission, but she eventually gives in. As the two continue their tryst, Athena, bound and gagged in a stall, slowly comes back to consciousness and sees them through the slightly open door. So, Boomer is making her big break, and Athena is being, for lack of a better word, tortured.
Yeah. That was, dude, that was intense, man. That whole sequence was intense. You know, nerd. Hail to Maria, by the way. Great to see you unlocking lore, Maria. And, one half of after the weekend. Awesome. And, I wanted to say again, Nerd Cookies, thank you so much, by the way. I know Pope Metallicus was giving you props on your Stargate content. Nelson said your Stargate content's awesome. And Pope Metallicus was saying, we love your lore bids. We really do love your lore bids because I'll tell you what, just on the residual side, I mean, your videos work actually seamlessly with doing Pegasus Actual because, it sort of really reinforces people before they come over and watch Pegasus Actual to understand, the actual things about the lore, the important things. And I'm so grateful that you made those videos because those videos are outstanding. Some of the best BSG lore stuff I've ever seen. And Mr. Grant Gregory for Australian $5. Hey, brother. Hope you're doing better. Thank you, Grant. Glad to see you here, buddy. We're just talking some Battlestar Galactica, me and BD. And but yeah, getting back to the observation I was trying to make here, Zach. That whole thing, because that's where it basically locked Athena like in the latrine, wasn't it, or in one of the janitor's closet in the latrine? Or
Yeah,
something?
it's either that or it's like a bathroom stall or something like that.
Yeah,
Whatever it is, it's prime location to watch her sleep with her counterpart's husband right in front of her, which is just
that's twisting the
she
knife, man.
she tries to get out of it, right? She doesn't
Yeah,
want to do it, but then she just kind of rolls with it because she knows she can get away with it.
and it just that was such twisting the knife at that one point. because it was such a friggin' intense sequence too. I was just like, damn, you know. That's what's so. It's those sequences, man. There's these little things in these episodes that you fixate on, that you pick out. It's just such a lost art because I even go back to just recently watching The Expanse, and even though The Expanse had moments, and it's a great show, don't get me wrong, man, BSG just had, God, it was just so well done, so well done.
And I think in this section, we start to see that Tyrell is just blinded. He's blinded by the
Oh yeah.
moment that Boomer gave them because Rosalind calls out the situation plain as day, and he is just blind to it. She's like, "No, she's playing you. Don't do this," and he just does it anyway. Like he goes right along with it.
Oh yeah, she absolutely told him, and he still just walked right through the stop sign. Blue-eyed Rookery in the base says, "I'm stuck at work. Many sorries. No problem, Tony. Thank you for being here." Um, Nerd Cookie says, yeah, she's asking us. Slick is definitely her dad, right? He's just in messenger form now. What do you think he is?
I think that yes, he is definitely her dad, even though she doesn't recognize him
That's
off
what I thought
off the
too.
bit. I think it's her projecting him. I think it's a
Yeah.
not a Cylon projection, obviously, but some kind of mental projection she's using to help her get through the situation. Because no one else can see him. No one else can hear him.
Hmm.
No one else knows that anything that's going on in Joe's bar between her and him is actually happening.
Hmm.
So it's definitely it's all in her head.
Yeah. And I have to concur with that, Elaine. I think that what Zach is saying is right, because that seems to be like the most logical, just from the way that their interactions and everything else. You can pretty much pick up that. I think that's where it's going. Maria is asking, Zach, can I ask from where you're reading this? Yeah,
Uh,
Zach actually puts together a summary based off of different sources, that really sums up the episode well, and we kind of go off that. So when we review each episode, Maria, you know, that's thanks to Zach's outstanding work, and he's reading off the script that he put together for our episode review. So you're getting, actually a synopsis that's readily available, but expanded synopsis, if you will, and analysis, because there's a lot that's been added to it, where Zach's added quite a bit to it. So you
and
get
sometimes
kind
it's
of
just been smooth to make it much easier to read because
that too.
just bullet pointing things is really cold and sometimes it misses stuff.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
but see, the way that we do this show, Maria, is we want for people that maybe haven't sat down and watched all the episodes yet or whatever, to really kind of understand that they are missing out by not seeing it themselves, but they have so much to look forward to. So even if they haven't seen the episode yet, maybe happen to go ahead and they're just hearing, our breakdowns and our analysis, then they look even more forward to when they do see the episode. So it's a win-win all over the place.
all right, so I'm going to continue on. We're reaching the end of the episode.
Yeah, Tony makes one great point, Zach. He says, the premise of her father is implied in the title and inspired by stories out of the Bible.
Mm-hmm. I believe I remember seeing that in the notes for the episode.
Mm-hmm.
In Joe's bar, Saul Ty tells Ellen and Tori Foster about the pain of seeing Liam after Caprica Six's miscarriage. Meanwhile, Slick realizes where Starbuck's hesitant music is going and writes down a few notes. Starbuck soon realizes that the notes line up perfectly with the stars on little Hera's drawing. The two resume playing, and the music flows more confidently. Elsewhere, Boomer abducts young Hera from the daycare as the notes continue, and Saul, Ellen, and Tori stop their conversation and listen to the music. Tyrell helps Boomer lift a nondescript box onto a waiting raptor. The notes grow faster and stronger, until it becomes the song that has haunted the five throughout the season. Once the piece is finished, the three who were listening to Starbuck appear next to her to demand to know where she was able to play it. She tells them that it was something she learned as a child, and we see that Slick has vanished into the ether. Boomer tries convincing Galen to join her, but he turns her down, assuring her that they will meet again in the future. The two share one last kiss in their dream home before she departs. So I'll stop right there. That leads right into where Elaine's question was. That scene right there, where he disappears and the three of them don't even acknowledge that he was there, is what led me to believe that it was just something in her head.
Right. Yeah, that kind of cemented it right there. So,
because as far as they know, they've been sitting in a bar, and all of a sudden the song just starts playing out of nowhere, and they turn over and it's Kara playing it. Like, that's all they see.
mhm.
And then at the same time, Boomer is finishing. She's expertly going through the motions of getting Hera and getting out, and showing just how devious she can be and is all the time. Like, and that's part of why I think that she had this mission from the start.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I'm really thinking that you're spot on with that because, dude, there's just no way, and it's like the pure, just almost the pure malevolence at times on her part in this episode leads me to believe that, yeah, even though that she is somewhat enjoying it, like you said before, as far as the trip down memory lane and feeling those emotions again, dude, this is all about the mission.
I mean,
Because
that's been Boomer's character the entire series, right? She's been
yeah,
Boomer the betrayer.
yep,
She has been she has betrayed everybody. She
yep, she is the Judas.
Galen, the old man, the Cylons, Galen again. Like,
Mhm.
it cannot be trusted by anyone.
Yeah, Poe Metallicus, it's funny, that's one of the very fascinating things about the Cylon side of the series is the fact that, so many of these models are identical, but they have distinctly different personalities between individual models. They can have different names, different identities, and they're two completely different people, even though they look identical on the outside. And that's what's so fascinating about the silent culture in these episodes. So, yeah, that's a great observation you bring up.
All right, we're gonna wrap up the episode here real quick.
Okay.
As Hilo gives a briefing on combat tactics, Athena, bloodied and weak, crawls into the ready room. She tells Hilo what happened, and Hilo orders the others to get medical help and to contact CIC. He tries to comfort Athena as she yells in anguish and hits him. As Boomer waits for departure clearance, she begins to suspect that she's been made and starts the Raptor's engines. Adama threatens to shoot her down, but she warns him that he would not be willing to fire on a Raptor carrying Hera. As she spools up the Raptor's FTL, Adama orders the flight pods retracted. Boomer launches, desperately racing toward the narrow gap and clearing it, but clipping the Raptor in the process. She then jumps away, super close to Galactica's hull, ripping a hole in the already staggered Battlestar, shaking her violently, and triggering further power outages and explosions seemingly everywhere along the ship. In Adama's quarters, Roslyn suddenly realizes the child is gone, whispers her name, and collapses. Tyrell spots Hilo and Athena arguing with the guard. He's horrified to learn that Boomer has kidnapped Hera right out from under his nose. In the daycare center, Ellen tells Saul that her escape from Caffel had to have been a ploy, nothing more than a way of getting Boomer close enough to abduct Hera. Saul wonders about how Hera knew of the song, and the two hope that if Sam wakes up, he could have an answer.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, in sickbay, Starbuck plays a tape of her father's music for Sam and lies next to him. The Chief runs frantically through Galactica. In the projected version of the house built by Boomer, he runs through all of the rooms, finding no one, and the episode ends.
Yep, and that signifies he realizes that was all a lie. And it was, this episode, it's very sneaky good because it doesn't seem on the surface all that great, especially on first watch. This is one, folks, where you watch it and then you watch it again and you're like, damn, this really was a sneaky good episode. Because you're not sure about it when you first watch it. Because there's, not a super lot of action. There's more, on the dramatic side. And there's more exposition and things like that and character stuff. So you kind of wonder. And then the second time that you watch the episode, you're like, damn, this was really good. And so, this one took me 2 watches, I remember, to fully appreciate. There was the original Air, which I was kind of lukewarm on. And then definitely after I saw it a second time, I was like, I gave it a much higher amount of respect. Salty Texas C for $4.99 says, respect, appreciation, so say we all. Salty Texas C, thank you so much for being here, man. It's great to see you, Salty. Dude, you're making some moves here lately in the fellowship as well, and it's good to see your success, my friend. I'm so proud of everyone that's popped in. You and Elaine and Maria. And everybody that's doing such good work right now in the community, in this fellowship. I mean, you guys have been doing really awesome. So kudos to all of you that are making content for all of us to enjoy. Nelson Gentleman says, that cute Asian actress totally boomered it. Nice pun. I see what you did there. Tony makes a comment, remember throughout the series, the turn for the Cylons is when they become aware of a higher power. That higher power is showing people possible futures and improbable pasts. Very good. I like that explanation.
Yeah, that's almost an allegory for when a species becomes sentient, right? When it starts to question its own existence. And then you get the belief in those kind of higher powers matching that part of the brain that evolves to have that kind of thought. And it's serving as a turning point for a natural evolution of a species.
Yeah. Sandy Q, and hail to you, Sandy Q. Nice to see you. Sandy Q says, one has to view the series at least 4 times. Many layers, such a fantastic blend of visuals, sound, music, and story. Yes, it really is, Sandy, and that's the greatness of this show. Is that it is so multifaceted, so, when you sit down and marathon BSG, for example, you really get an experience. And this is an experience that we're missing out on now, guys. We don't get this type of content from, our Star Trek or Star Wars or, a lot of sci-fi that comes out now. They don't make them like this anymore. BSG was one of the last bastions of good writing, good story, treating the viewer as being intelligent, not beating you over the head with, wagging the finger at you per se in sort of scolding you into lessons. No, no, no. They show you moral conundrums and let you expand on it in your own mind or put yourself in the shoes of someone in the story. And that is such a lost art. And that is one of the things that made BSG so great, and what separated it, I think, is one of the last true bastions of good television. A lot of people will hold up The Expanse and things like that. And yes, a case can be made for The Expanse, but start to finish, even with the flaws that were season 3 and season 4 with Battlestar, it still, to me, is one of the most solid pieces of storytelling I've seen from start to finish, all the way through. So, and as for this episode, just putting a score on it, I would give this one a solid 8, no pun intended. So I will give it a Sharon. It gets an 8 for me.
And 8 is where I'm at as well. You get 2 solid parallel storylines. This episode is carried by Boomer and Starbuck. One of them has a plot that leads toward the conclusion of the series as a whole, and one of them has a plot that offers up a new sub-problem to be addressed in later episodes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, folks, as I said earlier, we are getting into the end game now because we've got, I think, 2 more episodes, as we stated, before the finale, and then
so we've got 1 more, and then the finale is 2 episodes.
Yeah. Okay. So 1 more before the finale. We will do that episode next Thursday, and then, as I said before, we're going to try to effort to get Gary to discuss, the finale with us, because Gary had expressed interest when I talked to him a couple months back about doing that. So I'm going to effort to try to get Gary on to discuss the finale with us. So we will go out in style when we do our breakdown of the finale. And make sure you stop by next week when we do season 4, episode 18. And I forget, that title of that episode escapes me, but that's okay, because we'll have it for you next week. Pope Metallicus for $5 says, "See you guys on Thursday Night Throwdown." So say we all. And yes, I encourage everybody to go over, check out Comics Division for Thursday Night Throwdown. We will try to be over there and contribute. I've got some things going on, so I'm not positive if I'll be on the panel over there tonight if I'll make it, but I will try to at least make it in the chat. So thank you again for the super chats, for the support. Also want to say again, thank you to Nelson the Gentleman for donating to Mom's Memorial Fund. Thank you so much for that. And again, guys, you are the best audience that any content creator could ask for. You're the best chat on YouTube. And next week's episode is Island in a Stream of Stars. So, yeah, you won't want to miss that. That's season 4, episode 18. All right, Zach, if you got anything that you want to plug, go right ahead, sir.
Hey, guys. I have shifted my channel to be sci-fi channel or sci-fi audiobooks. For those of you who may not be aware, I am currently trying to wrap up an indie author's book that is Heritage: Tales of the Phoenix Titan. I have about 20 or 30 more chapters to go in that. I have reapplied for monetization on my channel. If YouTube denies me, I will probably not be on YouTube very much longer. If they don't deny me, if they accept me, then I will be starting a new stream of books within the coming weeks. So kind of on a wait and see, state right now. But that's what I got going on.
Yeah, and do be sure to check out Zach's channel, Booked with Brightest Day. Let's support him and see what happens. And I think I tend to keep it on the bright side, so I think Zach will make it through a-okay, and he's always appreciative of support. So if you haven't subbed to Zach, make sure that you do. And of course, you can catch me here on Tuesdays and on Thursdays. Of course, Thursday nights are the show we have right here, Pegasus Actual Podcast. And of course, Tuesday, we go ham on everything that is going on in the world with United Resistance. I'm looking forward to one of these days coming up, having Maria on there, because I want to give Maria a chance. This coming Tuesday's guest will be Jasmine Sinclair. She is an actress. She is an outspoken conservative. We've had her on the show before. Very nice lady, very awesome lady. And Jasmine's actually become a pretty good friend. She actually sent me this rosary that you see here. And it's a very awesome rosary. She sent me this as a keepsake, in honor of my mother. So very appreciative to you, Jasmine Sinclair, for that gesture and for being a good friend and for being a great guest. So you guys can catch her on Tuesday on United Resistance. And until next time, we will see you there, and take care of yourselves, take care of each other. So say we all.
So say we all.